Yanitza Munoz, and you guys are tuning in to Rebel Influencer by Rebel Retailer. I have my amazing friend on the screen with me. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, my name is Antonio Middleton. Nice to meet you all. Thank you for the introduction, Ian.
No problem. Yeah, so Antonio is actually a business partner of mine, and we created Rebel Influencer and Rebel Retailer together. Right now, I'm in beautiful Dubai. You can see right behind me, I have the Burj Khalifa. It's a beautiful view. SLS Dubai has spectacular rooms with amazing views of the Burj Khalifa. And I could see, Antonio, looks like you are in Hawaii, which is also a great place. But I know you're not really. I know it's the screen that you have with your green screen.
Absolutely. I'm experimenting with the virtual background right now, and I gotta say, technology is amazing. Look at that beautiful picture.
Yeah. Well, so I'm really excited. Right now, we're going to be talking about the stuff that we've been doing with Rebel Influencer and with Rebel Retailer. And, you know, with being an influencer or just with any type of way of making money with using social media, it is just a new thing. And I mean, as new as in 5 years, right? Instagram has created this catapult of thing where you can just create a brand from social media, make money from just a post, a bunch of people sharing the post, adding the links to your website or the links to a third-party website. Your post could be seen by thousands of people, thousands of strangers, just from your smartphone. You know, being here in Dubai, there's so many influencers. You know, Dubai is like the perfect place for an influencer to live. Los Angeles, Miami, New York, beautiful cities in Europe, which I just came back from Europe. When I was in Paris, there's so many influencers living there. And it was just so interesting, you know, because like I said, it's just a new way to make a side income. Today, I'm going to be at my good friend's wedding. It's going to be here in Dubai. Obviously, that's why I'm here. And she is marrying an amazing man named Chris Fade. The hashtag for the wedding is the Fade Wedding. So you guys should check it out after this interview that I have with Antonio. And, you know, he works in radio just like myself. He works in TV just like myself. But he's also like an influencer. So it's really amazing to see him on his Instagram page just doing like side jobs, like, promoting headphones, promoting concerts, promoting clothing. He also launched his own protein snack bars. And so he's always promoting that as well. So it's pretty cool to see, like, now with the internet, with our smartphones, with so many more like streaming opportunities that we are able to market whatever brands that we want to, that we believe in, or we can create our own brand, which is something that we're doing with Rebel Retailer as well. Because, you know, being that I'm from Southern California, you're from Las Vegas, there's just so much opportunity there when it comes to marketing, when it comes to, you know, creating brands and building them up and marketing them on social media. I know with rebelretailer.com, we have Eureka in a cup for all of you coffee lovers. We have Munoz Coffee. I'm Yanitza Munoz, Munoz Coffee. There you go. And what's awesome about that too is, you know, we do like drop shipping. We do like so many different ways that we can get our product to our customers. And I don't know if you want to go ahead and talk about that.
Well, you know, I think you touched on a variety of great points. And I think that in the future, people are really going to find that there's a need for people to go out and create relationships on behalf of a company. And that's really what an influencer is to me, is it's someone that influences a customer to buy a product. And so if you really think about a business is nothing more than the sum total of the relationships that it possesses and the quality of those relationships. So having someone who's an expert at creating those relationships could be incredibly valuable for a business. And that's something that we've done here, is we've sought to create value for our customers. And to create that value, first, you have to have a relationship. So I think that that's one of the most beautiful points about what we do, is not only do we transmit value in the form of business information or interviews, but we also provide people with the ability to kind of see a business growing right before their very eyes. So they can kind of create their own learnings by observing us.
When you brought up like the relationship with your customers, that is exactly what social media does, right? I mean, even though a lot of times you make friends on social media that are just like your social media friends, because they don't really,
Mhm.
you don't really see them. They just always comment on your pictures because they like your brand. And sometimes those are the customers that support you the most at times. So with
Mhm.
me with coffee, sometimes I'll always end up buying my coffee and they leave me positive reviews. I know that they're honest reviews because it's not like a relative or a friend. And
Mhm.
that's what the beauty of social media, because you can post something and it can be seen by hundreds or thousands of new people. And that can
Mhm.
happen for as easy as just like you could pay for the ads. I believe Instagram has between $5 to $10 ads. You can always put more, but aside from
Mhm.
that, just a hashtag is free, right? There's the free marketing from a hashtag that is a great way for people to uh, to find your brand. I mean, hashtag coffee, hashtag um, drop shipping, hashtag Dubai. You know, imagine if I lived
Mhm.
here in Dubai and I'm selling something like bracelets or, or anything like services, travel services. You know, people will
Mhm.
find you. When I was in Europe traveling, I looked up hashtag Parisian photographers. I looked up
Mhm.
hashtag Rome photographers. And I found these amazing Instagram photographers that I just paid a few €100. It was not a few hundred. It was like it's like about, I think like 175 euros. And
Mhm.
they took some amazing photos of me in Paris. Uh, they were sweet girls. They were college students, and the pictures
Mhm.
were amazing. A lot of people were doing that for their engagement photos. When I was walking around Paris, I saw so many people doing like proposal photos. And I was like, man, what a cool thing. You know, these young photographers wake up at like 6 in the morning to get these shots, because obviously you want to avoid the crowds of all the tourists and whatnot. But so for like an hour or two, they make a few €100, and then they go back to their other job or they go to school, you know? So
Mhm.
the opportunity that is there with social media and the internet is just amazing. There's always ways that you can find some innovative manner to make an income and save money in marketing. You know, I brought up social media, and I know social
Mhm.
media, there's very affordable ways to market your brand.
Let's take the example of a leather jacket, right?
Mm-hmm.
My first question would be, well, who is the person that spends the most money on leather jackets? What is that person? What do they believe in? Where can we find them? What medias do they read? What
Mm-hmm.
videos do they watch? What influencers do they like? How do I reach them? And how much is it going to cost me to acquire them? And by acquire them, I mean acquire a transaction, because that's the most expensive thing that you
Mm-hmm.
can do in the business. And so when you're thinking about how do I effectively use my marketing dollars, because I don't think there's a cheap way to acquire customers. So there's some ways that are more expensive than others. And really what determines the price is how well we've targeted the customer and how we're going to reach that customer. So I don't know too much about leather jackets, but let's just say that the person that buys the most leather jackets, let's say it's part of their profession. Let's say if they ride motorcycles, right? So I would first think, well, how am I going to get to these people? Maybe I could go advertise in a Harley Davidson magazine. Well, does that person read that magazine? Because if they don't, then there's no point in advertising there. So then I would probably start looking at influencers. Who influences that market? Are there any channels out there that teach how to fix your motorcycle? Are there any channels out there that teach how to buy a motorcycle? Are there any channels out there that maybe just teach you how to buy a leather jacket? And if I found that, then I would see how I could acquire space on that channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so once I figured that out, then I could go back to the customer and tell them, well, here's how much I think it's going to cost to generate a sale for your leather jacket company. But let's go ahead and test a few ads and see how much it actually costs. And once we know how much it actually costs, let's see if that's a scenario that we want to explore further.
What is it that you do to help your clients understand? Like, what advice can you give all these listeners who are trying to make an income as an influencer or as a retailer? Because that's what we're about, Rebel Retailer, you know, Rebel Influencer, on
Mhm.
how to be consistent for marketing, because your competition could take your clients.
The first thing that I would say, and this is something that I've actually had to say multiple times, because
Mm-hmm.
we get so many people that come to us that have never ran a business before. They've always like worked for other people and they've never actually been responsible for feeding themselves. And I know that can sound pretty harsh, but that's what you're doing when you're running your own business. Is for the first time, you're feeding yourself with your own effort, with your own value. right? And people underestimate what that means.
Mhm.
And they think that they could come in with an idea that they're extremely passionate about and that they love, and they think that the marketplace will in turn respond with money. And the truth is, the marketplace doesn't care. The marketplace only cares about its needs, what it wants. So you have to provide value to other people. And to provide that value, it has to be unique. We call that a unique selling proposition, right? And so
Yeah.
your value has to be better than all of your competition because the customer doesn't even have a relationship with you. And that's kind of the prerequisite to having loyalty towards you, right? So I think that most people are under equipped to enter into the marketplace. I see that so often because they're not prepared to kind of outwork their competition. And
Mhm.
that is what this is all about because they come into business and they come to understand there are workaholics out there. There are people that just don't stop. And those are the
Look,
people that go to the top.
I'm in Dubai
Of,
and I'm still working and I have a wedding today.
exactly.
Well, not my wedding, my
Exactly.
friend's wedding. I have to run to the wedding after this. And I'm like, no, I got to work really quick.
Exactly. And that's, you're doing that because you know there are people that wish they were you. There are people out there that wish they could take your place and they're trying to, and you're not going to let them because your work ethic is just that much better than theirs. Because right now, I guarantee you, most people wouldn't be working while they're on vacation. They say, oh, it's my vacation. Then, you know, when I get back to the office, 9 to 5, I'll get back to work. And by the time they get to the office, it's over. It's been over. It was over the day before because people like us are always working. So I tell people, if you're going to run your own business, if you're going to start your own business, understand what you're getting into because I always tell the people that are on my team that, you know, I'm working 24/7 so you can work 9 to 5. And I need you here. Don't get me wrong. I need you here because you can do things that I can't do. But understand that if you want to take my place, be prepared to work 24/7.
For anybody that's not an entrepreneur yet and want to, you really have to have self-discipline and
Mhm.
drive. And if you don't, you can always start, right? You can always start and change your perspective on life. You know, even though I'm
Mhm.
traveling right now for my one of my best friend's weddings, I'm still making the time to get things off my to-do list. I need to work. I need to do some stuff. I just have to get it done. And when it comes to marketing for your own business, it's that same ideology. You have to keep going. When you
Mhm.
stop cold turkey, it will affect your sales.
And when you cut your marketing, it's kind of like holding your breath. Because if you don't have a way of getting people through the door of your business stops. The one thing that doesn't stop in your business are your bills, the overhead, right? So one shouldn't stop their marketing cold turkey. One should stop marketing that is working, but one shouldn't stop all of their marketing cold turkey. And most people don't even know what marketing is working for them and what isn't because they're not measuring. But if you want to look at a prime example, in fact, it's kind of a callback to a previous conversation that we're having. But look at the taxi cab industry, right? Most of these cab companies never advertise, right? Which means that they were kind of setting themselves up to be taken out by Uber. I mean, plus they had really bad customer service. I'm sure you've called a taxi cab and just been waiting. I don't know if that's just a Vegas thing, but there's been plenty of times where I called a taxi in Vegas, it just never came. You know, you would think in a city like Vegas where everybody's drunk all the time, taxi cabs would be flying all over the place. And most of the time they're prioritizing fares. Well, that never happens with Uber, right? If you call an Uber, more than likely it's coming, right? And so I think that is something that people ought to think about because you never know when the Uber of your industry is coming. But when it does, you want to make sure that you have a pretty firm relationship with your customers. And you also want to make sure that you have the ability to get new customers to their door. Because what most people do is they wait till their business is literally dying before they start advertising. They try to figure out profitable advertising while their business is dying, which is a really bad position to be in. And that often doesn't work. You should have figured that out beforehand. And like you said, never have stopped marketing in the first place.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And that's a great analogy right there with the taxi and the Uber. And, you know, even with Uber, there have been times where people have just decided to call Lyft, you know, look at that. Like sometimes even when there's a big company that is dominating, people will still call the other company that's trying to steal their their clients, but not really steal them, but they're just trying to find new ways to make clients happy. When it comes to marketing, it's so important because you are always going to have competition. Show our brand to the public through social media and through other aspects of marketing. You know, it's 2022 now, and everyone is on their smartphones. With the smartphone, there's a lot of sales to be done. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just so important for people to really take advantage of that opportunity.
But I think that one of the things that I've always wondered about you is how do you network so effectively? Because I've really never met someone with such a wide array of contacts. And I think that you're really good at that.
Oh,
So
thank
what are a
you.
few tips for people who are just trying to build their Rolodex of contacts? Where do they start?
So I'll backtrack. I started
Mm-hmm.
off in modeling, and then I wasn't really happy with the modeling industry. I wasn't happy on how somebody would just tell me how I should look. I didn't like how somebody would tell me, this is how you make money doing this. I like to think I'm an educated person. I went to school, I went
Mm-hmm.
to Loyola Marymount University, I graduated, I did the whole school, experience, the whole college experience. And and I'm not saying that you have to do that to be educated, not saying that either, but
Mm-hmm.
I knew that there was other ways I can make money as a model. So being that social
Mm-hmm.
media was already around when this was going on, I just became a lot more picky. I just decided on who I wanted to model with, what I wanted to do as a model.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started using my social media platform to do that. And then over time, I really wanted to focus on another goal of mine, which was broadcasting. I wanted to become an anchor. I wanted to be a primetime news anchor. But
Mm-hmm.
I hit so many walls. Some people were telling me, your hair's too long. And I'm like, I could put my hair in a ponytail. It doesn't really bother me. Oh, well,
Mm-hmm.
your name is too difficult. Oh my goodness. I've heard that billions of times.
Mm-hmm.
My name Yanit says too difficult. So I'm like, well, I'll go
Mm-hmm.
by my nickname. My nickname's Yenny. I've been called Yenny since I was a little girl. Yenny
Mm-hmm.
doesn't sound catchy. So I've been told all these things. And nevertheless, over time, I was like, who are these people who always tell me, oh, your name's too long, your hair is too busy, or you're too sexy, or you're too ethnic, or you're this or that. And so then I just was like, I'm gonna just do my own networking. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want just a few people to tell me how I should live my life. As long as I wasn't hurting anyone. I was just trying to find a career for myself. And
Mm-hmm.
so then I started going to more networking events in Los Angeles and in Orange County. And I just was being very professional, and I would meet a lot of people. I was applying for a lot of jobs. Over the years of doing this, I decided to open my own media company. And with my media
Mm-hmm.
company, I would contact a lot of the people that I've met at these events and,
Mm-hmm.
ask them if they wanted to be my client, and I could scale their business. And then over the years, I found a really good niche that I'm really proud of, which is podcasting. So I created a small podcasting company. And for anybody who doesn't really understand the power of a podcast, I'll tell you, there's people that do podcasting from their living room, and that's fine. But when you do it to another level for your brand, it
Mm-hmm.
is a great marketing tool. So what I've done is that I have my clients use my studio that I use in Irvine, California. I also have another studio that is accessible in Burbank as well. So if you're in LA, you can use my Burbank one. If you're in Orange County, use my Irvine studio. And if you're in another state, no worries. I have an amazing editor by the name of Victor. I have to give him a shout out. He can do a
Mm-hmm.
lot of your remote edits. So being like, let's say I have a client who's in Atlanta. So she's just going to email me all of the footage, which she does in her office, which is totally fine. And then
Mm-hmm.
my editor is just going to chop it up and clean it up, just like what he did for this video. I mean, I
Yeah.
do my own edits as well, but he's really good at graphics. And I could do that too. But right now, my time has just been really hectic, and it takes a long time to do graphics. But
Yes,
nevertheless,
it does.
so I've just been creating these things because years ago a lot of people just kept giving me crazy excuses, and now that I'm older and a lot more mature, I don't really see it as like anything. um I don't think they were trying to be mean to me on purpose. I just think maybe their perspective of life was a lot smaller than mine. Right now I own my own business. I also own a second business with you, Antonio, Rebel
Mm-hmm.
Retailer.
Yeah.
So we have our coffee line together, Munoz Coffee, because I just love coffee. Who doesn't? And
Absolutely.
yes. And then on the side, I still do freelance news reporting. So I'm in the Sky helicopter for Sky News in Los Angeles. So I
Mhm.
jump from KTLA to NBC News. So I'm in the helicopter and we do all of the intense news in Los Angeles. Aside from that, I do entertainment news. I've interviewed so many celebrities like Montel Williams, so many actors, Chevy Chase. I've also interviewed sport athletes like John Sally, Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell, gosh, mobster kind of celebrities, which sounds weird to say, like Michael Francis, other athletes like P. Rod. There's just so many celebrities that I've interviewed. And from what I've learned from this is that I've also created relationships with these celebrities where I book them. So now it's like by accident, I'm starting to do public relations and I'll book them for my clients. Another great thing I want to talk to you about, Antonio, is all the marketing and effort you put to people's websites. Now, a website is so important. And I know anybody that's tuning in, you're going to say, no, Dove, obviously website's important. But I'm like, no, the way Antonio does websites is at another level. So Antonio, let's talk about how you do all of like the contests and email list and SEOs for your clients' websites, because that's actually really important. A website can make or break you as well. You need a website and good content and good marketing. Those are three important things to have a successful company because it's going to attract the customers.
Immense and immediate value to many of the people watching this video. And one thing that I see that most people get wrong with their websites is there's no urgency. There's no reason for people to pay you now. One could say the most valuable thing in today's economy is attention. And so one of the ways to direct their attention to a sale is to develop urgency. Urgency. Why do people need to purchase now? And a lot of the things that I do on a website, not tomorrow, not to wait, because if they wait, it'll never happen, to buy it right now. And I think that if people start to focus on that and develop the mechanisms to make that happen, then they will see an immediate boost to the profitability of their website. Of course, urgency does not surmount need. If no one needs what you have, there's nothing you can do to fix that. You have to go into a different business. And there's a lot of people who are just unwilling to make that change. They won't accept that they love their products, but no one else does. No one else needs their products. No one else needs their services. And they keep pumping more and more and more money into something that no one wants. And they wonder why their business aren't working. So first, create something that someone needs, and then figure out why they need to buy it now.
And I know we've only scratched the surface of what we've been talking about in the realm of marketing, and there's so much more we can talk about. But I really encourage everyone to check out rebelretailer.com to find out more on how you can really scale your business and really make money in selling your services or your products and building your brand. And if you already are an established brand, I encourage you to not stop, because it happens a lot where people will pause their marketing and your competition is just going to pass you by and take your clients, so it's really important to keep going. There's so many different ways that you can scale your brand with drop shipping, social media, etc. So highly recommend go to rebelretailer.com to learn more. Also check out my coffee, Munoz Coffee. I'm having a sale on my personal website, so you can go to yanitzamunoz.com. And if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, it's spelled YENITZA, and my last name is Munoz, MUNOZ.com. So it's yanitzamunoz.com, and check it out. So Antonio, is there any last thing you would like to talk to me about before we close out?
We also have clothing available. If you're watching the video version of this podcast, the hat that I'm wearing is one of those items. And also, I think that there will be a blog coming to your website too that I'm looking forward to. We don't really have a date for that, but I think that it's going to be really awesome. It's really kind of the whole spirit of Rebel Retailer and her website is to give people a very transparent look into the life of an entrepreneur, and in her case, and into the life of an influencer, so that you can kind of really learn what's what. And because I honestly feel when I go out there and I watch like business videos, I often question if they've ever ran a business, because there's a lot of things that we hear, they're just unrealistic. And so that's what we want to bring to you guys and gals. And that's something that I think is sorely needed here. It's just a truthful approach to running a business, what it really requires, what that life is really like. And I think that's the essence of Rebel Retailer. And I think that's the essence of her website as well.
Thank you. Yes, well, yeah, we will have a release date for that. Follow my Instagram at Yanitza Munoz to find out more. I do have some blogs up about podcasting on my personal website as well, yanitzamunoz.com, where I talk about the importance of podcasting and how to get started. And more information is on the website. I also have my podcast services at newmindsetcontent.com. I have it for you here on the screen as well. And if for whatever reason, you guys still didn't catch any of this, I have it in the bio as well for this podcast. So you might be able to find a hyperlink for it as well. So I want to say thank you, Antonio, for taking the time. I know it's already 11:47 for you PM over there in Las Vegas. And for me in Dubai, it's 10:47 in the morning. I'm going to go and start getting ready for the wedding. I still have to get my hair done. Today is my friend's wedding. It's going to be beautiful and just so excited to be here. But I'm also really excited I was able to have this amazing call with you.
Oh, it was a wonderful call. And thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. All right. Bye, guys. Again, check out rebelretailer.com. Also, check out my website, yanitzamunoz.com. My Instagram is Yanitza Munoz, and check out everything I do, and check out Munoz Coffee as well, Eureka in a Cup, rebelretailer.com. Gracias, Antonio. Thank you, Antonio, for your time.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.